Hello everyone. Welcome back to this channel. This thought has been on my mind ever since I was spoiled on it by my own comment section. As we all know, tennis ball won immunity in BFDIA 22. However, was this a good move on a writing aspect? Well, obviously if you read the title of this video you'd know that my personal opinion is no. Tennis ball winning immunity was not a creative/bold option to win immunity again, and here is why. Before we dive into anything tennis ball related, we should discuss 3 other examples first. These 3 characters have had massive hate bases, whether that'd be recent or not. These 3 were given a good portion of immunities throughout the course of BFDIA, and we managed to get to see a new side of these specific characters. These immunities had purpose to the show throughout the season. One of those 3 people are Pencil, the 8th placer of BFDIA. Pencil's reputation had basically been tarnished since BFD, and it still haunts her to this day. BFDIA was a second chance at redeeming her and giving her more time to shine in a more positive light, and it worked in a way. Pencil never did well in the votes. In 3 out of her 4 eliminations in post-hiatus, she was in the bottom 2. Not a good look. So obviously the writers gave her tons of immunities, an example being BFDIA 12-15. That's 3 whole challenges of constant immunity after the writer sacrificed Ice Cube just to give Pencil a little bit more time. During her time in the show, she had more time to interact with her Free Smart alliance, and it was honestly fantastic. We get to see Free Smart in its prime, where every member mattered and they all got along mostly well and had great chemistry compared to what the alliance has become now. Not to mention her being viewed as an early boot in most predictions, so dragging her to the final 8 allowed us to see a new side of Pencil, a much nicer one than BFB or TPOT, having dynamics she never had much time to explore rather than just leaving the show early once again. Another great example is Fries. Fries was never a popular character. Never did well in prize votings, was a dislike/vote magnet, and was in the bottom 10 in BFB 13's popularity voting. However, TPOT 5 gave us a smidge of more Fries content that was quickly taken away from us in the next episode. BFDIA reviving managed to help out Fries a lot. He's now one of the most popular characters in the show, even if some of his fans can be a bit insane at times. BFDIA showed us a new side of Fries, one where he was more comedic, nonchalant, and a lot more competitive than how he was in BFB and TPOT. His main purpose of constant immunities was likely due to his early elimination in TPOT, as they wanted to give him much more time to shine since that was the original plan. Hence writing gelatin like a dumbass to make Fries survive, switching his personality up a little bit, and giving him his whole solo team act to boost up popularity. This new side of Fries and a good chunk of immunities got him to the final 6 of the merge. Nobody thought he'd make it this far. Everyone saw him as an easy early boot, but again, dragging him to the final 6 was a more interesting, bold choice of a character to have than someone like Teardrop or Bonnie. Him being an antagonist to most of the contestants definitely brought some entertainment value along with comedic value, since he was kind of given that role ever since we lost Ruby. And finally, we reach what I believe is the perfect example of a good choice of saving certain characters. Pin. Pin has been on the decline for viewers, as she is seen as mean and petty for her continuing her revenge on Free Smart ever since BFDIA 15. Eventually, she was given a more villainous role, especially seen in BFDIA 18-22. And arguably giving her immunity in episode 18 was one of the best choices they could have ever made. We get to see this new side of Pin, one who's far from what we all thought of her. A nice person willing to encourage and help others in need, to becoming someone who has a disinterest to everyone around her, hostile and aggressive, and willing to throw her closest friend under the bus just to win one more time. We also get to see much more of Pin's dynamics with other characters. We get to see a much more complex relationship between Pin and Pointy, and seeing what makes them click so well together and what solidifies their bond. Her frenemy one-sided rivalry with Boot, which was pretty cute to see in all honesty. It's cool to see the most hostile person in the game temporarily work with the nicest person left. And Leafy, someone who she hasn't talked to in years, and we finally get to see this long-distance alliance have a whole episode together of just them interacting and seeing them clash at their current state. All of this happened due to Pin winning immunity in episode 1-8. 4 episodes is more than enough to see a fresh new side of Pin and see her explore existing dynamics with a new context. The main pattern with these three characters is seeing new sides of them. Seeing a nicer Pencil and her relationship with her alliance, seeing a more angsty Fries and having a more antagonistic role with most of the cast, and seeing a more hostile Pin and exploring existing relationships with other characters in a new light. Now how does all of this yapping lead to Tennis Ball? Well, frankly, giving him immunity again just had no purpose. We never entirely see a new side of Tennis Ball. Sure, he's using more dirty tactics, but that's just him putting his intelligence to use, something that we've already known for years. In fact, we've just been following the same Tennis Ball that everyone knows and loves. He doesn't have any interesting dynamics left since the two people he was closest with were eliminated. That's basically why a portion of his voters disliked him in the first place. Tennis Ball is already popular on his own right, as in the last year he's won 4 prizes and has been the first safe numerous times. He already has TPOT as well, something that half of the remaining players in BFDIA do not have. So giving him immunity is just giving him more screen time that he doesn't necessarily need. Besides, if Needle's eliminated, this is basically the final 3 that we've predicted since September 1st, 2023, other than just Book replacing Ruby, which honestly is not that big of a difference. Also, since he's won immunity, it's obvious they're just going to make him lose again in the next episode, where he'll obviously be the next boot. The difference with Pin was that we got more time with her, that being 3 extra episodes of her. That justified her being put up for elimination the next episode with no clear chance of surviving. This just feels like a desperate attempt to shake up the game, even though it doesn't. Tennis Ball has been predicted to get into the finals even before BFDIA began production again. Needle being there would be a more unexpected choice, as most saw her as an early merge boot or someone who could get decently far. Besides, what else can he really do anyway? With Needle likely gone, the whole one-sided contract isn't in play anymore, so he's kind of just left with not much else to do. Then again, this goes for Book and Coiny too. Not like that contract had much importance anyway. Looking at the other 3 examples, we can see what they did before being put up for elimination. Pencil was still hanging around with her alliance and trying to get Needle to stick with Free Smart rather than her going over to Woe a bunch. Along with her rivalry with Pin, Fries continued to sabotage other contestants and was just being a constant menace. Since this was a merge challenge, he can go all out since it's everyone for themselves. I don't think I need to explain Pin since we obviously know what she went through. With all of these factors in mind, giving Tennis Ball immunity wasn't a bold move. In my eyes, it's just a desperate attempt at spicing up the game when it really hasn't at all. The most he'll do next challenge is being himself and doing the challenge. Literally nothing special at all compared to the 3 examples listed. Well, I'm now on page 7 of this script and I think I'm done rambling for today. Before we go, this isn't supposed to be a hate video of me complaining about Tennis Ball winning. I like Tennis Ball, I really do, but I just don't personally see this huge shift having much of a bigger play into the rest of the season compared to other characters such as Pin doing a way better job at this concept. As of revising this script, I've seen that Coiny is now the most likely contestant to leave the game. So I'll just say this. Tennis Ball, your days are numbered. If you think you can just rob Needle, Coiny, and book a spot in the final 3, you got another thing coming. You've been so ass throughout the last few episodes of both seasons, it's not even funny anymore. This is just becoming sad. If one of my favorite characters of all time gets eliminated because this shitty booger-colored ball got the most dislikes last elimination, alright. You may allegedly be Carrie's favorite, but that favoritism will not last much longer cause we all know you'll be put up for elimination next episode. There was no point for your immunity. This is just adding in more screen time to a character who's been washed since last year compared to others like Needle, who could only dream of being just as popular as you. You'll be drowning in a sea full of hatred the moment you lose. And I couldn't be happier. Now I know how it feels to have a character I dislike be immune over other way better characters. I bet this is what most of you felt like when Pin won immunity in BFDI 18. Count your days, Tennis Bendis. Because as they always say, revenge is a dish best served cold. Of course, I'm only half joking when I say this, but I still do mean some of it. Anyway, do you agree with this take? Or do you disagree? You can always comment below in the comment section. I love reading your guys' comments. It's always good to see a second input or criticism as long as we're being civil. For now though, thanks for watching. And I'll see you all in another video.